Hey everyone, it's that guy over there again, bringing you another series of tournament battle reports. I'm gonna put a intro and an outro video up just to kind of one I've noticed as I've been watching these battle reports that mine included that if you do not post up your list in a centralized place, you'll probably spend 3 to 4 minutes talking about your list and the stuff that you got or the stuff that you took. So to avoid that, making a 12-minute video into a 16 or 17-minute video, I'm shortening it by going over my list now, and then in the future you'll just have to refer back to this one. I'll probably do that from now on, or just post my army list in the army or the comments section. So anyway, it's a 1,500 point tournament over at a game store over in Lebanon, Missouri. I believe it's called Cheap Crap You Don't Need Emporium, something like that. But it's just CCYDNE. That's the title of the store. So they're just doing a tournament, small, 1,500 points. Most of these people are new. Just so I can catch this early, if this group is a new, I don't want to say it's a newer fantasy group, but a lot of the players that are coming into the store are recently joining the hobby, so they do not have fully painted, fully assembled armies. They're having to proxy a lot of things. As you've seen from before, even mine aren't all painted. So I'm not talking to them. It's an us type thing. Us as a group are a newer group that's starting up because the store opened maybe a year ago. So to my knowledge, and so yeah, just have that expectation. Expect not painted stuff. Expect proxy stuff, and if that bothers you, I'm going to talk a lot about tactics, army list type stuff here, and then at the end. But maybe it's not worth watching the battle reports if the painting or proxying is going to bother you in some way. However, I'm going to try to use this as a kind of like an example of how you might use some of these units. So if you want to watch through the videos just to see how I'm using these units and what I'm talking about when I talk tactics, then by all means, I think they're going to be great battle reports. And there are a lot of really good games, a lot of really close games actually. So yeah, so I think it's worth your time. So anyway, without further ado, here's my army list. The focus here is taking some things that I'm comfortable with. For instance, the Slan. I remember when I was 11, the first model I bought was a Slan Mage Priest, and I've since replaced it with the newer stuff. But I've always had a Slan Mage in my army. So even back in the days when he was a close combat monster, as well as being a monster caster. So but I'm taking the tried and true stuff, Ripperdactyls, and putting it with stuff I've never used before. For instance, the Cowboys. I'm not really a big Cowboy user. I didn't have a lot of faith in them before, so I was taking them to this list or this tournament to figure out how they work. By the way, I've made all of the presentations, and the tournament has already happened. So I'm speaking from the mindset like I'm going to the tournament, but it's already happened. So I haven't used these Scarvets before. The Skink cohorts, I haven't used those. I've used Skinks and I've used Croc Scores. I haven't put them together though. Skinks with blowpipes. Yeah, so it's the new with some old favorites that I know are going to work out for me. So anyway, with the Slam Mage Priest, I got Focus of Mystery for High Magic. I watched a High Magic Tactics video by Dissimulator. It's Dissimulator, like a simulator you would use to train on or something. Anyway, he made a High Magic Tactics video, which I think is a must-watch if you're going to be taking High Magic, and that really turned me on to the idea. So I've never tried that before, so now I've got that. That's it. That's the only upgrade. 1,500 points is hard to fit a souped-up Slan in. I've got two Cowboys. Basically, one is the defensive one, and then one is the offensive one. They both have 1+ armor saves. However, one's a 1+ rerollable with a great weapon, and the other one is just a 1+, but he has the Piranha Blade. The idea is to go into something multi-wound, which I think is, especially before the tournament, I thought that that was really going to be a powerful option. I've got the 24 skin cohort with 3 cock scores musicians for the reforms and standards, just because standard bearers are, I like them. I have a skink with cymbals and a skink with a little blowpipe with a shield at the end for the banner. I really like those 2 models, so I put them in there. And then 10 skink skirmishers blowpipes because that's what I have, and testing to see if blowpipes are better or worse than javelins, and then a patrol leader just because 10 points rounded out the army list. I think I forgot about him in every game. Yeah, I did. I forgot him in every single game. Um, and then the 4 Ripperdactyls, just because 4, I went to a 1,500 point tournament once before, and the 4 Ripperdactyls I thought was effective. So again, I'm still experimenting with those. And then an Ancient Stegodon, Engine of the Gods with sharpened horns. For the ward save, he's got bounce spell, and to reduce the lore that I'm trying to swap into with high magic, it reduces the costing by 1. So yeah, so that's my list. I've used the slam before, not with high magic, so that's really changing his focus. And then I've got the 4 rippers. I've used those before, and obviously the skinks with blowpipes. But everything else is kind of new, so we're trying these out and seeing how they work. So here, I'll talk to this cool picture. I mean, I just really like the lizardman fluff, the lizardman background. I think this picture is pretty indicative of like some lizardman Lustrian city that's lost to time, but obviously still inhabited, as you see all the torches and everything. Anyway, so my thoughts going into this list or this tournament is that the Slan, I'm trying to use him as a damage dealer as well as a force multiplier. So, and I thought that the high magic would really help give me a lot of flexibility. High magic is a mini game within itself, especially if you watch this Tactics by Dissimulator. He talks about how you have to choose at the beginning. You have to say, okay, I'm facing this opponent. I want spells from this lore, but so you pick the lore you want. You pick the most important spells from that lore, the ones that you're trying to get. But on the side, you pick a signature spell that you need. And basically, those are all your target spells, and you're trying to get those as you're casting. And then he talks about how your first magic phase, you've got to swap your spells. So you cast the ones that might have some effect, but they're the ones that aren't so useful, like Tempest is an example. Maybe a Hand of Glory. I'm sorry, not Hand of Glory. Walk Between Worlds to send someone up and then forget that spell. And things like Apotheosis, they have Lore of Life attributes. Like the attribute for Lore of Life is to heal a wound. So Apotheosis is, you can cast that, forget it, get a Lore of Life spell, and then you can cast a spell and get basically another Apotheosis. So, yeah, it was really a nice tactics is going through, talking about the second, third phase. You're trying to cast useful spells like in close combat, because second and third is when your chaff's starting to get engaged, and that's when you want to throw your Fiery Convocation, because you want it to stay up, forget it, go on to some other spells, but your opponent's still trying to deal with that one. And then your third and fourth is you should have 3 to 4 spells of your target lore, and you're just focusing on buffs and hexes the whole time, because now your third and fourth turns, that's when all the majority of the combat's happening. So I was really looking forward to that, and I think that really fits into my play style. So we'll see how that goes. The Saurus Scarvets, they're the reasons why I'm probably going to be switching to Lower Life most of the time. I'm nervous about them because they only have 2 wounds. I know everybody says they're really tough. I'm going to go ahead and say that I am doubtful of that claim. I know 1+ armor save is tough, but they only have 2 wounds. I'm used to 40k where like 2 wound Terminators would not scare me. Like the what are those guys called? There's the Grey Knight Terminators, whatever, the Paladins. I'm just not confident with those, but you know what? I'm just trying it out. I'm taking this stuff, trying out things I've never used before, Everybody talks up the cold ones, so I'll try, or the Cowboys, I'll call them on cold ones. So I'm going to try them out. One's offense, one's defense. The Skinks, I really like the idea of the Skink Croc Score cohorts, the Scrox unit. I just really like Croc Scores. I have like 11 of them. So I'd really like to use them to fill out my core. I don't feel like pushing around so many skirmishers, and I feel like they're hard to use, and I feel like they're leadership 5, and they're hard to keep in the leadership bubble, and they're just going to be running and never rallying. So I'd like to try to, if you could even put one Croc Score in there, now they're leadership 7, and they're immune to fear. So that's pretty cool, I think. So let's see how they work out. When I was putting the models together on their little movement trays, I noticed that it's going to be hard because I have a little magnetic, I got them from Blue Table Painting, but they're ranks of 2. So basically what you've got is a rank of skinks and then Croxagores that are half on that movement tray and then half on the next one, and then a row of skinks and then another full skink thing behind them. And as the Croxagores were dying, you have to slide all the... So it was kind of fiddly. It was kind of annoying to put them together, so I'm curious how that's going to work out. And then the skink skirmishers, they're there just to hide my characters and hide my slan, because I don't have a unit to hold the slan or the scarvets. The Ripperdactyls, I really like Ripperdactyls. I have 9 of them. So I brought 4 of them this time, and they're just going to be my distractor, troubleshooter, shoot around on the flanks. My idea is that I vanguard them, and first turn, particularly if I go second, I'm going to try to fly them over. Typically people send their mean units up right at you right away, or if they're like Temple Guard or dwarves or something, they're not going to move, but you can just fly around them. So but it, like say Skull Crushers or whatever come flying up, I can fly behind them, and now I'm back where they don't want me to be, and they can either turn around all those aggressive units to try to deal with me, or I can have free reign, and then they can, try to stop them. So I like Ripperdactyls a lot, and they are much more mobile playstyle, which again fits into my playstyle. And then the Ancient Stegodon, honestly I would have taken a blowpipe Ancient Steg, but I have the Ancient of the Gods version, so it's like, you know what, let me try it. He has an added benefit where he reduces that. It has to be one of the main rulebook lores, but since I have high magic, I'm going to be trying to swap into, let's say, Shadow. So I could say, hey, this guy's, he's chosen Shadow. All the Shadow spells are reduced by 1. And now when I'm swapping into Shadow, all my spells are a little bit cheaper by 1. So it doesn't help me, it doesn't prevent them from dispelling it, but it helps me get them off with less dice. And sometimes 1 makes all the difference. And then he's got a bubble 6+ ward save, and a burning spell that I'll probably never use. So really I took him for the Sharpened Horns. I want to see what that's like. Again, I'm speaking after the tournament. Before the tournament, I didn't realize Sharpened Horns was just on impact hits. So somebody called that out the first time I used it, and I was like, oh, I didn't even realize that. So luckily, I did not cheat at any time during the tournament with the Sharpened Horns, but I would have definitely been doing D3 wounds if my opponent, like it with his regular close combat attacks from the Stegodon, not the Skinks, of course, if my opponent would have called that out. So if you're somebody I played during the tournament, I'm going to, everything that was questionable that I did and everything questionable that my opponents did, I'm going to ask the question to the community, and if anybody's got any pointers. I know that in some of my games there were some questionable things. Mostly, I'm going to say it's 70%, 75% things that I did that I think are correct, as far as wacky reforms and weird footprints. My army list has a lot of weird situations where you got a Slan trying to join skink units that have Croxagores in them, and then cavalry are trying to join those units, and you've got 3 characters that don't fit in the unit that are like floating around on the outsides. So there's a lot of weird situations, and I really didn't mean to like bend the rules or anything like that. I'm just trying to make it work. But my opponents probably know what I'm talking about when I'm saying that I'm going to bring it up just to ask, what everybody else sees. To my knowledge, I all of those wonky moves I played correctly, based on, I watched Once Bitten a lot. He does a lot of reforms shenanigans, so I was trying to emulate that, and but it's something you don't see every day. So anyway, I appreciate you listening this long. I've got all the videos or all the slides put together. Just need to narrate them basically. So you'll see those coming up over the next week or so, and then I'll have a closeout video to talk about where I'm headed in the hobby. So again, thank you for your time, and it's that guy over there out.